then you can just clip this onto your dress and let's see, right? Let me see if you can use. Why don't you try it? Hello?
Hello.
Okay, good. That works. And then we'll clip this onto you. It'll be right there.
Hello.
This would be for you. You'll just have, so when you're done with it, can you pass it down to Pierre? Because Pierre will be meeting it next. So here, this will be the one that you'll use. And he'll just pass it down to you. Maybe we can put this down on the down here.
Yeah,
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a few words, and then you'll be the first to speak. Okay? All right? And then so I'll introduce you, and you can speak, and then I'll introduce.
Thank you, my dear.
Gael, and then I'll introduce Madeleine. Okay. Can you say your name? Just put it on your lap. I'm taking water for everybody else. And can you say your name?
Toto.
Toto. And say your last
Bon,
name.
ça va très bien.
Muteba.
Tu es bien là? Tu es à l'aise? Ça va? Ça peut aller? On fait ce qu'on peut. Hein. On fait ce qu'on peut, les amis.
Non, je ne m'attendais pas à une telle adrénaline.
Non?
Non, je me disais peut-être que c'est un truc de vieux.
Mais là, tu te
Je me rends compte que c'est
Quand même pas
sérieux.
vieux.
Ah ben oui. C'est normal.
Okay. Do you all have, okay, so your mic should be off.
Good.
Just, yep, but turn it off. Just, you can turn it on when you're, so I'm turning it off,
Yes.
but turn it on before you talk. I
Okay.
just want to make sure
Okay.
there's no interference.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Let's try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, now we're talking. You know, after you do a few webinar events, I cannot tell you how delightful it is to see faces in front of you. So thank you for all being here today, and welcome to the Congregational Church in Cumberland. Can you all hear me okay? Excellent. My name is Kelly Greenlee. I am the Community Outreach Librarian at Prince Memorial Library. The library, for those of you who are not familiar with the area, the library is just down the road a little bit. And back in January, Reverend Allison Smith, who is the senior, minister here at the church, she and I sat down and wanted to talk about ways that we could partner together, the library and the church. In the recent past, we had the most that we had done was to share parking lots. So if we had overflow parking, you know, we could use their parking lot, they could use ours. So we thought it was a ripe opportunity for us to partner together, and we explored some ideas. And Reverend Allison had the idea of exploring the topic of asylum seekers. She had done a lot of work, the church had done a lot of work in the asylum seeker community, and she thought it would be valuable information for people to learn more about the history of the Central African area, and also to learn about the journey that people take to come here, and to learn about what it's like to live here in Maine. So this is a three-part series, for those of you who don't know. Most of you do know. Part one was on the history of the DRC, and part two was on the journey that people take to get here. Both of those recordings are available on the church website as well as on the Prince Memorial Library website. So you can check those out if you have not. So if you have seen those recordings, and if you have, or if you attended live and in person, you know that it's my job to do the housekeeping. So I will tell you, with that in mind, that there are restrooms just outside the door here. So if you proceed through the door here, and you'll see a restroom right here at the top of the stairs, or if you go down the stairs and down the hallway, you'll see more restrooms as well. Also, I would like to invite you after this, the presentations today, and after a short Q&A time, I would like to invite you for the 4 C's, or what I'm calling the 4 C's, which would be coffee, cider, cookies, and conversation. I came up with that all by myself. The cookies, I will say, are homemade and are made by people who attend this church, so thank you for anybody in the audience who has made cookies for us. Thank you for sharing your talents. Now, usually this is the point at which I pass the baton to Reverend Allison, and she takes it from here. However, Reverend Allison sends her warmest regards and her deepest regrets she couldn't be here today, rather unexpectedly. So our prayers and our thoughts are with her today. So, you're stuck with me. So I want to introduce you to a few people who are sitting in the room with us before I introduce our panelists today. Luke Kwanzambi. Luke, where did you go? Oh, there he is. Luke is in the back. Luke is our expert historian, our cultural broker, and connector. He was a speaker in part one. He outlined the history of the Democratic Republic of Congo for us, and he was also a panelist for part two. And speaking of part two, Prince is here. Prince Pombo Mafumba, is here. You may recall that he shared his journey with us during the part two learning event. And I would be remiss if I did not publicly thank 2 individuals who have worked tirelessly on this whole series, Nikki Piaget and Martha Leggett. They have truly worked tirelessly, and we could not have put on this program without them, so many thanks to them. And just a shout out to Ira, who's up in the booth, recording today's event. Okay, so you are here for part 3, the culminating event of our 3-part series. We had almost 900 people register for the entire series of events. So there is a great interest here in this topic, and we're so pleased that you showed up to this event on such a gorgeous day. We're truly honored that you're sharing this day with us. Today is part 3. We're going to explore the legal, economic, and cultural transitions that asylum seekers experience in Maine. So, without further ado, let me introduce, I'm sorry. There is further ado. I did not mention that we will be taking questions. If you have questions, we're going to take questions at the end of today's presentation. So after all the presentations are done, we'll open it up for questions. So if you have a question, then we'll take it then. So now, without further ado, let me introduce to you Toto Muteba. She is from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which she left 12 years ago for political reasons. She works as a seamstress and model for a company named Sugar in Biddeford. She is also a supervisor in Saco and Portland kitchens, where hundreds of meals are made for those living in motels. She works with Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition with asylum seekers housed at the Family Shelter in the Salvation Army and the YMCA. And as if that's not enough, she's married and the mother of 6 children. Machulin is also here. He is Toto's husband, and he will be translating for her today. Toto, I didn't ask you, did you bring your Mary with you?
I'm here with Mary. Mary is there.
So Mary is here as well. So Mary has done did some babysitting for Toto's daughter Alliance, so that Toto could go to ESL classes. So we just want to give an acknowledgement to Mary. Okay, off you go.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Okay.
Bonjour à tout le monde.
Hi, everybody.
Comme on venait de me présenter,
As I was introduced,
je m'appelle Toto Muteba et je viens de la République démocratique du Congo.
my name is Toto Muteba. I'm from Republic Democratic of Congo.
En République démocratique du Congo, j'ai été gradué ou bien licencié à la faculté des droits.
I have a bachelor's degree in law,
Et j'ai travaillé au ministère des Relations avec le Parlement comme conseillère.
I worked at the ministry in charge of the parliament.
À cause de problèmes politiques, j'ai été obligé de quitter ma petite famille.
Because of some political troubles I went through, I decided to leave my country.
Mon mari qui est ici présent, qui lui aussi est licencié en droit,
My husband is talking about me. Thank you. I'm a lawyer too. Yeah, I was working as a lawyer in the Republic Democratic of Congo. Yeah.
en République démocratique du Congo, on n'était pas trop riche, mais on menait une vie normale.
Yeah, in Congo we were not rich, but we had a good life. We were leading a good life. We were not rich nor poor, but we were leading a good life. Yeah.
Lorsque j'ai été obligée de quitter, en 2011, j'étais enceinte de 6 mois.
Yeah, when I decided to leave the country in 2011, I was 6 months pregnant.
Et j'avais laissé derrière moi mes enfants qui sont là-bas présents.
Okay. Leaving behind me my husband and all my children, they are all there.
Et j'étais venue dans un pays lointain, un pays inconnu qui est les États-Unis.
Yeah, I came here in America, a far country, I know, but to me, yeah.
Quelles sont les difficultés que j'avais rencontrées une fois que je suis venue ici aux États-Unis?
So what kind of difficulties that I went through when I just came here in America?
J'ai rencontré 4 grandes difficultés.
So I faced 4 main difficulties.
La première difficulté, je devrais me préoccuper de mon état de grossesse.
So the first difficulties, I don't know. I should focus on my health because I was pregnant.
Et puis la deuxième difficulté, c'était le problème de la langue.
Barrier language, the second difficulty.
Troisième difficulté, je n'avais pas d'argent.
So I was running out of money.
Et puis la quatrième difficulté, je n'avais pas de moyens de communiquer.
So,
Par exemple, je n'avais pas de téléphone.
I hadn't any way to communicate with anyone.
Comment je suis arrivée à surmonter ces difficultés?
So what did I do to overcome all these difficulties? That's what I will tell you.
Après que j'ai eu mon bébé en décembre 2011,
When I had my baby in December 2011,
malgré que le fait d'avoir le bébé devenait encore une charge, j'avais pris la décision de chercher où étudier l'anglais.
so having a baby, it's a blessing, but it's also another difficulty. So I should find a way to learn English.
Alors, avec quelques amis dans la communauté, j'étais partie à l'armée du salut.
So with some friends, I went to the Salvation Army.
C'est là que je vais rencontrer une personne magique. Elle s'appelle Mary Ayres.
That's where I met a magic person, Mary.
Elle est ici présente.
She's there.
Avec cette femme, je ne pouvais pas communiquer parce que je ne parlais pas l'anglais.
With her, I couldn't communicate because of the very language.
On communiquait par des signes.
So we have to use the sign just to
Elle me
communicate.
demandait est-ce que tu veux manger,
You could say, do you want to eat?
est-ce que tu veux boire.
Do you want to drink?
Alors c'est comme ça que j'ai communiqué avec Mary, mais tout de suite, elle avait compris mon besoin et elle était prête à m'aider.
So immediately, she was aware about her needs and she was very ready to help her.
Elle m'a dit, je vais accepter de rester avec ton bébé et tu vas avoir le temps d'apprendre l'anglais.
So I will be in charge of your child, so you will have enough time to learn English at school.
Elle est restée avec mon enfant et j'entrais dans la classe pour étudier l'anglais. Mais non seulement avec ça, lorsque j'ai fini de préparer mon dossier pour la demande d'asile,
Yeah, she used to stay with my daughter, and that helped me to learn English. Then after filling my asylum application,
j'ai attendu les 150 jours pour avoir le permis de travail.
so I wait about 150 days to apply for the work permit.
Une fois que j'avais eu mon work permit, c'est toujours avec Mary que nous avons préparé la première application pour demander le travail. Et là, je vais avoir un travail comme housekeeping à l'hôtel Regency à Portland.
So after getting my work permit with Mary help, she is the one who helped me to apply for my first job as a
Housekeeping.
housekeeping. Yeah.
Et c'est en ce moment-là que trouver encore la personne pour rester avec le bébé, il s'est posé un grand problème et Mary est allée appliquer pour les daycare.
So when I start working, the same problem remained about my baby. I should find someone who could take care of my baby. It's always Mary who applied for me at the daycare, so I could take care of my daughter while I'm working.
Et c'est comme ça que j'ai évolué avec Mary. Et puis, mon dossier d'immigration aussi était en train d'évoluer les années passées.
It's Mary who helped me at that time while my application at the immigration was going ahead.
Mais comme je voulais toujours continuer à apprendre la langue, je suis allée au Learning Oaks.
Okay. As I wanted to learn more about English, I went to Salvation for learning works. Yeah.
Et au Learning Oaks, quand j'ai commencé à apprendre l'anglais, le directeur de Learning Oaks m'a dit que je m'absentais beaucoup au cours parce que j'étais au travail pendant que les autres étaient au cours. Alors le directeur, Paul Manoff, m'a dit qu'il va me trouver un professeur qui va venir à la maison m'apprendre quand j'ai fini le travail.
So when I start learning English at Learning Works, I wasn't able to attend class every day. So because I have to work and to learn, so he said I will. Do what?
Il va me trouver un professeur qui va
So
venir
he
à la
will
maison.
find for you a teacher who will come to teach you English at home.
Et c'est comme ça qu'on va me trouver une autre femme magique qui s'appelle Jane Schrock, mais malheureusement, elle nous a quittés.
Well, that's where I will find another magic person, John Shrek, who was coming to teach me English at school, but unfortunately she passed away.
Alors, avec Mary et Jane Schrock, nous avons évolué ensemble. Et Jane Schrock venait à la maison m'enseigner. Mary m'aidait toujours parce qu'elle me posait toujours la question, c'est quoi la deuxième étape? Quand on finissait une étape, elle me posait la question, c'est quoi maintenant la deuxième étape?
So with Mary and Jen, those people helped me too much. Jenny, as I say, she was coming to teach me English at school, and Mary was always there to ask me about my need and about the next step.
J'ai commencé à travailler. En ce moment-là, j'ai résolu la difficulté d'argent, mais aussi j'étais maintenant en mesure de m'acheter un téléphone pour pouvoir communiquer. Mais ce n'était pas aussi facile toujours de communiquer. Mary et Jen Shrek m'aidaient à appeler. Quand je n'étais pas en mesure d'appeler, j'allais toujours vers eux pour qu'ils m'appellent, pour qu'ils essayent d'appeler pour moi.
Yeah, once I started working, I was now able to buy a phone, to communicate, to make some savings. And although the fact that I had a phone for some communication, I was to resort to Mary and Jane just to make me some translation or to call some people for me, some services.
En tout cas, comme vous pouvez le constater, je suis une personne qui n'est pas timide.
As you can see, I'm not a shy person.
Même quand je ne sais pas bien parler, je vais toujours vers les Américains et je vais leur parler.
Yeah, although the fact that I wasn't able to say English correctly, but I used to go to American people to open myself and to let them know what I need.
C'est là que plusieurs fois avec Mary, nous sommes allés contacter les sénateurs parce que parfois je ne comprenais pas pourquoi on ne m'appelle pas, pourquoi on ne me donne pas les papiers. Alors avec Mary, on marchait partout pour demander qu'on me fixe la date pour me présenter devant les juges.
Okay, with Mary, we went to see the senator. So because I was wondering why the process is taking too long, I wanted to know why. So Mary was there to help me. We see the senator and to have an idea for next step when he should see, meet the immigration judge.
Mais aussi, j'ai eu aussi une bonne chance d'avoir un avocat, c'est Jenny Beverly.
Yeah, I was also lucky to meet a good lawyer, Jenny Beverly.
Avec Jenny, en tant qu'avocat, elle comprend bien la procédure d'immigration, mais avec moi-même, je devrais aussi travailler vraiment pour trouver les preuves qu'elle avait besoin pour supporter mon cas.
So Jenny helped me to understand the immigration process, but on my side, I prepared my file. Yeah.
C'est comme ça, en 2017, l'asile m'avait été accordé.
So in 2017, I was granted my asylum. Yeah.
Mais c'est là que, comme je vous ai parlé, les deux femmes miraculeuses, Mary et Jane, vont vraiment faire ce que j'appelle un miracle pour que mon mari et mes enfants arrivent ici.
After that, Mary and Jane, they did all their possible to get my family here in America. It was a kind of miracle.
Parce qu'en ce moment-là, lorsque j'ai eu l'asile, pour moi, je me disais, je vais aller à la banque et je vais demander de l'argent pour que je sois en mesure d'amener ma famille ici.
So after being granted my asylum, the next step for me was to go to the bank to get a loan and to help my family, which was in Congo, to come here.
Vous allez m'excuser parce que je vais tout le temps citer Mary. Mary, avec ses amis, ils ont organisé un fundraising.
So you will excuse me because I'm naming Mary. Okay, after that, Mary and her husband will hold a fundraising in our honor. Yeah.
Et puis, Jen Schrock, de son côté, va m'amener à l'église Forsyth Community Church, qui est dirigée par le pasteur Jeff. Et là aussi, l'église va se mettre ensemble et ils vont organiser un autre fundraising.
Okay. Jen brought me at the Forsyth Community Church in Falmouth, and there they collect money that help us to come here.
Avec l'argent que Mary avait récolté et l'argent que le Forsyth Community Church avait récolté, j'étais à mesure de payer le passeport, de payer le visa et de payer les billets et d'organiser l'accueil de ma famille ici à Portland.
Yeah, with the money collected by Mary and the church, I was able to support my family need just to help them to join me here in America.
Et en tout cas, je vais vous dire que la procédure de demande d'asile, c'est une longue procédure, mais ce n'est pas aussi une procédure facile.
I will tell you that the procedure for the immigration is not easy, but
Ce n'est pas facile.
well, it's not easy, but yeah, it takes a long time, but it's not impossible. Yeah.
Donc c'est ici où je veux vraiment profiter pour dire merci à vous tous qui sont ici présents.
Okay, so I will just to thank everybody who is here today to hear about my testimony.
Pour tout ce que vous faites pour nous, nous sommes vraiment reconnaissants.
For all that you are doing for us, we are very thankful.
Et je voudrais aussi profiter ici pour remercier Madeleine qui est ici présente.
So I would like to take advantage of this opportunity to thank Madeleine, who is beside me.
Madeleine représente le MIRC. Et lorsque je m'étais présenté à elle, elle avait cru en moi, comme Mary John Schreck qui n'est plus vivante, elle avait cru en moi et elle m'avait donné du travail.
Okay, Madeleine is a MIG representative. When I introduced myself to her, she trusted me as Mary did, and she's the one who helped you to find a job. Yeah, there.
Alors, je suis là à votre disposition pour toutes les questions que vous avez. Je vais essayer de répondre.
Okay.
Et comme je vous avais dit, si vous voulez vraiment voir les 4 enfants qui sont venus lorsque j'avais eu l'asile, ils sont là, ils peuvent se lever.
So I want to introduce you my family, my children. So the baby, the child who was born here is Alliance. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You can maybe sit. Okay. So if you have a question, you can ask. I will be very happy to respond to your question.
I think we'll save the questions for the end.
Yeah.
So we will do that. Thank you so much for that. That was delightful, wasn't it? So now I would like to introduce our next panelist. Gael is a new community member who is originally from Angola and came to Maine in the fall of 2021. He lives in Biddeford with his wife and 2 sons. Gael is a proud father. One of his sons was just born 1 week ago. So translating today for Gael is Pierre Dende. He will be translating And Pierre is originally from the DRC and was forced to flee Gabon. He is a wonderful member of this church, helping with translations, and he will be looking for work in electrical engineering as soon as he gets his work permit. Welcome, Pierre. Thank you. So, to make things a little bit easier for Gael, I'm going to be asking a few questions. Gael, what have been the biggest challenges or difficulties that you've confronted since moving to Maine?
Français. Ok. Quelles sont les difficultés majeures que tu as rencontrées depuis que tu es ici à Maine?
Bonjour à tous. Oh, speak.
Mm-hmm. We can hear you.
Les difficultés sont majeures.
I have a lot of difficulties.
Pierre, could you use the microphone?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I met a lot of difficulties.
C'est vraiment nombreux.
Yeah, a lot.
On ne peut pas tous les citer.
I cannot tell you whole difficulties I met,
Mais on peut dire quelques-uns.
but I can tell you some. Okay.
Premièrement, il y a un sujet qui est pertinent
First,
et difficile à gérer ici dans le Maine.
Firstly, there is a subject which is very difficult to solve in Maine.
Principalement le logement.
At first, house.
C'est ça qui dignifie une personne.
This is what defines someone.
Et cette question-là, si vous sortez dans les rues de Portland, vous aurez des larmes aux yeux.
And about house, when you're looking for a house, it's very hard when principally you are in Portland. It's very hard to find an apartment.
Nous savons tous que les temps sont difficiles.
We know that time is very hard.
Mais tout ce monde qui vient ici, c'est parce qu'ils ont quelque chose qui est plus difficile que eux, ils ont dû fuir.
We know that time is hard, but when you see people coming here because they made more difficulties where they were, that's why they are here.
Je suis ingénieur en génie civil.
I'm engineer in civil engineering.
J'étais la 4e personnalité dans l'entreprise appelée G-Franc Immobilière.
I was the fourth responsible in my company.
Je n'avais pas une vie de prince, de roi, mais je vivais dignement.
I was not living like a rich person, but I had a good life.
Je n'ai jamais songé une fois dans ma vie que je serais un immigrant.
I've never known that I should be immigrant in my life one day.
Je n'ai jamais imaginé ça qu'un jour, je dois tendre pour qu'on me donne.
I've never known that there was a day, there should be a day I should be looking for money or asking for help to someone.
Je suis né et grandi, mon père et ma mère m'ont mis seul au monde.
I was born, I'm like...
Mon père et ma mère m'ont mis seul au monde.
Yeah, I'm the only child of my parents.
Donc les difficultés de la vie, je connais un peu.
So I know that life is not easy.
Mais je me disais que quand je grandirai, je vais lutter pour effacer ça de ma mémoire.
But I knew that when I will be a big person, I should maybe find solution to problem I should be meeting.
Et c'est ce que j'ai fait tout au long de ma jeunesse.
This is what I'm doing during all my life.
J'ai évité beaucoup de choses que d'autres pouvaient en basculer. J'ai évité beaucoup de choses que les jeunes gens pouvaient en basculer.
Yeah, I've already been aware of a lot of problems young people should be meeting.
Parce que c'est pas facile d'être seul, d'un père qui n'est pas présent, qui a d'autres femmes. Tu vis avec la maman.
It's not easy to grow without your father because he has a lot of wives and you live in only with your mother.
C'est vraiment un défi majeur.
It's very challenging.
C'est d'abord un défi majeur pour soi-même.
It's very challenging at first for yourself,
Tu n'as pas de père,
because you don't have father,
tu as qu'une maman
only mother
qui ne travaille pas aussi,
who doesn't work,
qui dépend aussi de ses parents.
who is depending on her parent.
Donc, j'avais toutes les chances pour basculer dans un mauvais monde.
So if I was not smart, I should be maybe no one today.
Et ce qui m'a donné envie de lutter et de regarder la vie d'une autre manière,
And what was keeping me strong to go straight?
c'est parce que je comprenais l'erreur de mes parents.
Because I could take my parents' example, like I could take my parent life like an example for me.
Je suis reconnaissant de ce qu'ils m'ont donné. Ils m'ont donné ce qu'ils avaient.
I know that they gave me all they could give.
Ils m'ont donné la vie.
They gave me
C'est le
life.
plus grand cadeau.
They gave me life, and it's the best gift.
Et la première erreur que j'ai notée que je devais lutter d'abord, c'était de ne pas avoir des enfants avec des mères différentes.
The first error I was fighting, it's to not have a lot of child with different mother.
Parce que c'est ce que j'ai compris que c'était la base du problème.
Because I knew, because of my parent, that it was a big error.
Parce que si mon père avait seulement moi et ma mère, j'aurais peut-être une vie différente.
Because if my father had only my mother like a wife, I should have maybe a better life.
Mais comme ce n'était pas le cas, et j'avais compris cela.
But it was not the case. That's what my life was not easy.
Alors je me suis fait des promesses à moi-même
So I promised myself
que je dois lutter et sortir la tête de l'eau.
that I have to fight.
Et j'ai sacrifié beaucoup de choses.
I sacrificed a lot of things.
Je ne sortais pas,
I had not to go to nightclub, for example.
je ne buvais pas,
I was not drinking,
je ne fumais pas.
not smoking.
J'avais une vie stricte.
I was living a strict life.
Avoir un métier
I have a job
et avoir une meilleure vie.
and I have a best life.
Mais je viens d'un pays où le plus fort gagne.
But I'm from a country where it's not easy, like a jingle.
Dans mon pays, en Angola, on dit que si tu es la pierre dans la chaussure du plus vieux, si on te dit cette phrase, tu dois prendre tes dispositions. Ou tu fuis, ou tu meurs.
In my country, Angola, there is a dictum which say when you have a storm in the foot of a old person. So,
Si tu es la petite pierre dans la chaussure du vieux, ça veut dire que tu dois fuir ou tu dois mourir.
so it means that you have to run or to die.
Mais je ne fuis pas mon sujet. Je vais juste vous raconter certains petits détails pour que vous compreniez certaines émotions et événements qui nous emmènent parfois dans d'autres pays.
But I will not go away from my subject. I will just tell you the main thing which makes us leave our country to come here.
Parfois, ce n'est pas ce que vous avez rêvé dans votre vie,
Sometimes it's not what you projecting to have like life.
mais les circonstances de la vie vous amènent à devenir ce que vous ne voulez même pas.
But life is strange. Sometimes you become someone else that you wanted to be.
C'est pourquoi je dis, si vous passez dans les rues de Portland, vous verrez comment les familles, les enfants, d'autres dorment parfois dehors,
That's why I said if you go around Portland,
Et
you
ça fait
see
très mal.
as family living,
Et ça
people
fait
living
très mal.
out, and it's not easy. It's very hard.
Ça fait très très mal de voir ça.
Yeah, very hard to see it.
Donc quand je vois ça, je me dis, parfois ils n'avaient pas peut-être l'idée de venir ici.
When I see it, I say it may be the same case like my situation. They wanted not to come here, but they have no choice.
Donc c'est l'une des défis,
Yeah, that is very challenging.
trouver une maison,
Found an house.
avoir un endroit où poser la tête.
Have somewhere when you can sleep.
Je crois que c'est l'une des défis majeurs que j'ai trouvé d'abord dans cette ville.
I can't tell you it's my first difficulty I made here.
Le deuxième point, c'est à propos de l'immigration.
The second point is about immigration.
C'est pas vraiment facile.
Not easy.
Je suis arrivé, j'ai fait ma demande d'asile,
I came and I did my asylum form.
je me suis présenté dans mon premier rendez-vous,
I came for my first meeting.
et curieusement, le juge a bloqué mon compteur des jours qui comptait pour avoir le work permit.
But strangely, the judge told me that days had to wait to be able to apply for work permits. He stopped it.
Et on a demandé pourquoi.
And I asked him to know why.
Et le juge répond, c'est parce que pendant l'audience, tu nous as demandé qu'on t'accorde plus de temps pour que tu trouves un avocat parce que tu n'en avais pas.
And the judge told me that it's because the day we met, you had to meet me. You told me to give you more days because you had not money to find a lawyer.
Mais j'ai dit, c'était pas le cas quand même.
But I told him that it was not the case.
Je venais à peine d'arriver, je ne connais même pas un mot d'anglais et je dirais déjà au juge que accorde-moi du temps.
I was just a newcomer here. Even English, I was not able to say something. That's how I needed much time.
Et j'ai eu beaucoup d'appui sur ces sujets.
And I met a lot of people who could help me.
ILAP m'a aidé,
ILAP,
Cheryl Mails,
Cheryl Mills,
et beaucoup de personnes, c'est beaucoup de gens.
and a lot of people else.
Beaucoup de gens m'ont aidé sur ces sujets, mais malheureusement, ça n'a pas abouti.
But strangely, till now, nothing.
Pendant le deuxième rendez-vous, le juge déclare que ton compteur ne sera pas ouvert, mais tu dois attendre jusqu'à ton nouveau statut.
The judge told me during my second appointment with the judge, he told me, till now, I'm not able to tell you that you can have work permits. Till you will,
Jusqu'à ton nouveau statut.
till your new statute.
Et nous avons attendu patiemment.
And I was waiting till now
Avec beaucoup de difficultés.
with a lot of difficulties.
Je devais dépendre.
I was obliged to be supported.
Donc je commençais à briser mes propres règles.
So I decided to live my own life,
Dépendre des gens pour survivre.
be supported by people to live.
Et tous les jours, tu n'as pas sommeil.
And you can't sleep.
Quand tu vois la famille qui dépend de toi,
When you see that your family is depending on you,
et toi tu dépends des gens, des bonnes volontés des gens.
but you're obliged to be supported by people who can help you.
Et tu te poses parfois la question, est-ce que j'ai bien fait de me marier?
And sometimes you ask yourself, why I got married my wife,
Est-ce que j'ai bien fait d'avoir des enfants?
and why I have child.
Est-ce que je ne suis pas en train d'être comme mon père?
Maybe I'm becoming like my father.
Est-ce que c'est ça la vie que je vais leur donner?
Is it the life I want to give to my children?
C'est des questions qu'on pose avant même de se coucher parce que tu ne peux pas.
Those kind of questions I had in my head because I could not sleep here.
Et le jour J est arrivé où nous devons y avoir la dernière conférence avec le juge.
And the day came, I had to meet the judge.
On a commencé l'audience et l'avocat du gouvernement demande mon passeport.
And the lawyer of government asked me to give my passport.
Mon avocat dit que vous avez déjà son passeport sous forme de copie.
And my lawyer told them that you saw his passport already on a copy.
Et lui répond non, j'en ai besoin physiquement comme ça, original.
And he said that I don't want the copy, but I want the passport, the original one.
L'avocat du gouvernement dit s'il n'y a pas son passeport original, alors je ne peux pas procéder.
And the government lawyer said that if he doesn't have his passport, I cannot accept.
Et mon avocat dit object.
And his lawyer said that even if there is no passport, we have to go on.
Et le juge dit, je retiens ce que l'avocat du gouvernement dit. S'il n'a pas de passeport, il n'y a pas d'audience.
And the judge said that I accept what government's lawyer said. If he doesn't have the passport, we cannot speak about his case.
Et le juge me dit, je suis désolé, c'est la première fois qu'une telle chose arrive aux États-Unis.
And judge said that I'm very sorry because it's like my first time to meet that kind of situation.
Tu dois devoir attendre le prochain date avant qu'on que ce soit.
So you don't have choice to wait your next date before doing anything.
Imaginez de tels défis comme ça. Si on pouvait avoir le privilège d'exprimer aussi ce que nous avons pour aider à contribuer aussi.
Imagine that kind of situation if I could myself find a way to solve that situation.
Ça éviterait beaucoup de gens dans les rues.
Yeah, it should. We should not be seeing people sleeping out.
Ça éviterait des dépenses inutiles.
It should be not spending our money for nothing.
Parce que les gens vont se prendre en charge.
Because people can support themselves.
C'est choquant aussi quelque part et triste.
Very sad.
Pour quelqu'un qui est, par exemple, parce que la majorité sont des parents, qui doit attendre
Because people you see now,
pour donner quoi que ce soit à son enfant.
people you see now for like asylum seeker,
Donc
most of them they are parents and
c'est
they
lui-
have children.
C'est l'un des points fondamentaux qu'on peut, si on pouvait le revoir,
If you could see that situation, it should be really better.
ça aiderait beaucoup de gens et ça évitera beaucoup de choses.
Yeah, it should be help a lot of people to find a way to feed their family.
Moi-même, personnellement, j'ai fait 7 mois à l'hôtel.
I, for one, I spent like 7 months in autumn,
Je vous dis que ce n'est pas une vie facile.
and let me tell you, it's not easy.
7 mois à l'hôtel avec un enfant de 2 ans.
7 months in an hotel with a 2 years kid.
J'étais premièrement à Hôtel Quality, à
First.
South Portland.
At first, I was in Quality in South Portland, Quality Inn in South Portland,
Après, je suis allé à Old Orchard Beach,
and
à l'Hôtel
after,
Beau Rivage.
and after I went to Oshler Beach in Hotel Beau Rivage,
Et c'est là où on s'est rencontré avec Madeleine.
and I met Madeleine there,
Et elle était fondamentale.
and she was very helpful for me.
Bon, elle a toujours été fondamentale pour moi.
She has always been very helpful for me.
Beaucoup de gens m'ont aidé dans la vie, mais Madeleine fait partie. Elle est une pièce qui ne peut pas manquer.
I met a lot of people who helped me in my life, but with her, it's very special.
Il y a des moments où je n'arrive même pas à les regarder dans les yeux parce que j'ai trop de dettes morales envers elle.
Sometimes I don't know when I will, one day in my life, help her to find a solution for her in a problem because she's doing a lot of things for me.
Vous savez, on vous donne, vous ne pouvez pas donner, vous ne pouvez pas contribuer. Vous
Because-
imaginez qu'est-ce que ça fait?
Because when somebody is helping you every day, you'd like even one day to help the person. But when you know that you can't for the moment, it's not easy.
J'ai beaucoup de gens qui m'ont aidé. Beaucoup même. Il y a Sharon Mills,
I met a lot of people who helped me, like
Il y a
Sharon
Denise,
Mills,
il y a
Charlie,
il y a Donna.
Donna,
Ils sont nombreux qui m'ont aidé.
a lot who helped me.
Mais je ne peux même pas leur regarder dans les yeux comme ça parce qu'ils ont tellement fait que toi, tu n'as rien donné en retour.
But I'm ashamed to look at them because they're always helping me, but me never.
Ce que j'aimerais donner, ce n'est pas que je prends une enveloppe d'argent que je le remets dans les mains. Non.
What I mean by helping them in return, it's not to give them money.
Ce que nous aimerions aussi donner, c'est contribuer nos efforts dans le progrès, le développement de ce pays.
But I would like one day be able to help someone in this country too.
Je crois que c'est la meilleure des façons pour rétribuer quelque chose.
I think it's the best way to give back when you have been helped every time.
Mais ce point-là aussi est bloqué parce qu'il y a un défi majeur de l'immigration.
But this point too, it's not easy to find because of immigration.
Donc, on a le logement, on a l'immigration.
So we have problem of house and we have the problem immigration.
Si ces deux défis-là pouvaient être revus encore,
If we can't find solution for those two problems,
les hôtels ne seront pas remplis,
we should not be seeing people in hotel.
il y aura de l'espace pour tout le monde.
Everybody should be living somewhere.
Et je crois que ça, même ceux qui nous aident, ils seront aussi un peu soufflés.
Even people who is helping us, they will save their money instead of giving us every time.
Ça, c'est mon humble opinion dans les difficultés, les plus grandes difficultés que je connais ici.
This is what I really think about problem I'm meeting here.
Wow, thank you. That was a very thorough answer.
C'était pas facile, je comprends.
Ah oui.
Gael, I think that every person who listened to you today could say that you have helped each and every one of us to better understand the experience that you had and that other people have. So you are helping.
Laisse-moi te dire que raconter une telle expérience, c'est aussi une manière d'aider, de contribuer aux personnes qui sont devant toi.
Si c'est le cas,
So I have one more question for you.
J'ai une question pour toi.
What do you hope to do in the future after you're able to work in Maine?
Dis-moi, si tu as le permis de travail aujourd'hui, que voudrais-tu faire comme travail?
bon, j'ai une carrière que je chéris précieusement parce que j'ai souffert pour l'apprendre, l'ingénierie civile.
I'm thinking about keeping the same work I was doing in my life because I spent a lot of years in school doing it. About civil engineering.
Yeah.
J'ai aussi une passion qui me brûle le cœur, l'entrepreneuriat.
I love to have my own business.
Mais ça ne va pas dans le sens d'être riche.
Not to become very rich.
Ça paraît un peu marrant, non?
It's really, it's making laugh.
C'est juste que j'aimerais aussi aider les gens.
But I would like to help people.
J'aimerais, dans mon projet, c'est apporter une pierre à l'édifice qui fait mal au cœur dans cet état de Maine, par exemple.
I'd like to see myself to contribute, to do something concrete in Maine.
Par exemple, dans le secteur de l'immobilier, où les gens souffrent.
For example, in housing, because I see a lot of people in need of house.
Ou bien en avoir un endroit où les gens pouvaient s'héberger gratuitement.
Or having somewhere I can build where people can live freely.
Mais pour mon permis, je préfère d'abord mettre tout ça de côté et penser à travailler dans une organisation ou un endroit, quelque chose qui aide les gens.
But now, if I forgot about my work permit, I'm ready to work somewhere I can help people.
Pour moi, ça serait une façon de rétribuer tout ce qu'on m'a donné.
For me, it will be a way to give back what I receive.
Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you, Gael.
Merci.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce Madeleine Saucier. She is the Manager of Programs and Community Engagement for the Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition. Madeleine works directly with Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition members, community-based organizations, private businesses, and state and municipal bodies to meet the emerging needs of new Mainers. In prior professional positions, Madeleine served as a legal analyst in immigration law and a reporting officer with a Beirut-based refugee relief organization. Madeleine holds a Master's of Science degree in Migration, Mobility, and Development from the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London, and a Bachelor of Arts in Asian and Middle Eastern Cultures from Barnard College of Columbia University. Madeleine, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Do you have questions for me? I forget. No. Can you hear me? Okay. Wow, I don't know how to follow that. That was very moving. Pleasant mornings.
They're having trouble hearing you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Try holding it. Just unflip it and hold it.
Holding it. Hello? It's almost too loud. Is that good? Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you to the church and to Reverend Allison for inviting me, and to Kelly for moderating today, and Nikki and Carol and Martha, and to my fellow panelists for being here, for accepting to speak today. So I've been asked to talk a little bit about the situation in Greater Portland, specifically around sheltering and housing. But I'm happy to elaborate on other topics as best I can. Thank you for introducing me. I've been at the Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition for about 18 months. And in that time, I was really hired to work on COVID, to be sort of the middle person between the state and our community-based organizations that were out doing the work of supporting communities with social supports, driving people to vaccine clinics, getting people food, emotional support, et cetera, rental assistance. And I was hired to be the middle person between Maine DHHS and the community organizations. Rapidly, soon after I joined Merck, my role shifted, and that was really in response to what we're seeing in Portland. People arriving in greater and greater number every day, every week, every month. And we, as an organization, for those of you who aren't familiar, we're a coalition of almost 100 member organizations from what we call very grassroots, small organization like the Congolese community of Maine, all the way to what we call mainstream organizations like Catholic Charities, very large institutions. So we exist in relation to our member organizations. We work with them, for them, through them, et cetera. What we were seeing was people arriving. The shelter in Portland, where most people were presenting to, the family shelter, some of you are familiar, in Chestnut Street, being very busy, very overwhelmed, and using hotels as emergency shelter. So that was initially a method used to keep people safe during COVID, so they didn't have to be in congregate settings, but then increasingly used as emergency shelter for people coming and seeking asylum. Our roles, rapidly, we work closely with the city of Portland, family shelter mostly, but also the single shelter on Oxford Street. We gradually took over the role of the city of Portland of placing people in hotels. So last May 2022, the city of Portland announced they could no longer guarantee shelter for people, and we took over the role of coordinating placement in hotels, working with an organization called Prosperity Maine to do emergency rental assistance applications, to pay for these hotel rooms. I was spending every day ordering Ubers, sending families to hotel rooms. It was big picture, little picture, everything in between, and responding to a lot of need on the ground. And that need has just grown exponentially in the last 18 months I've been with Merck. The situation now is really, I mean, I was here a year ago, I said the same thing. I think I was seated right there, and I spoke to a small group here and said it's a crisis. My boss, Mafalo, at Merck, we've all been saying we need state coordination for this work. It just cannot be done by 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 municipalities, shelter staff, and a constellation of amazing organizations, but that are overwhelmed, and amazing volunteers. And a lot of the volunteers I'm talking about are here. It needs to be a coordinated effort to welcome people, to shelter people, to feed people, to know where people are going. So the situation right now, and you just need to take a drive downtown Portland to see a very challenging situation of homelessness. We know that there's upwards of 1,300 people who've arrived in Portland since the start of the year, since January. People are going into the community. A lot of people are not even presenting to the shelter because the family shelter is full. People are staying with pastors, sleeping in basements, bunking up in hotel rooms, risking the eviction of their friends and acquaintances because they're living with them. Many of you know or have heard about the Expo in Portland, which we are not directly involved in. That is managed by the city staff and other nonprofits, but that is completely at capacity, as is the Homeless Services Center, as well as the Salvation Army shelter, which we run, and then a couple of other shelters. There's State Street Church, which was hosting 12 people. We've just actually taken those 12 people late last week. Greater Portland Family Promise has families. There are a lot of pop-up, for lack of a better term, shelters in the community, as well as more established ones, and they're all at capacity. They're all full. We know as well that at the end of June, the families that have been placed in hotels in South Portland, for the most part, have to, I'm sorry, I should clarify, the families that were placed in hotel rooms paid for by emergency rental assistance will need to leave those rooms at the end of June. And there's over 80 families. So it's May 15th. We have a month and a half to find either permanent housing or, and when I mean we, it's not my organization, it's alone by any stretch. It's other organizations as well doing this work, trying to find permanent housing or other emergency shelter options. The expo will close sometime this summer because the players will be back and will need the space to play. So where do those 300 people go? And where do those 80 families go at the end of June? It's anyone's guess at this point. There are some efforts. You may have heard of Blueberry Road. The shelter's being developed. Developers Collaborative developing a shelter, but that also will have a limit of around 300 people. So this cliff, and I think I talked about this cliff last year, there's this constant looming cliff. The extension of ERA has already happened thanks to an injection of state funds after the federal funds ran out, but we just are extending and extending this cliff that seems like it's really approaching faster and faster. Hotels that are still accepting people with other means of funding than ERA are full, like Motel 6. Some of you have heard of Motel 6 in Portland. It's completely full. And then other hotels are not accepting new guests because of the warmer weather, and they don't want to accept certain guests that are paying for rooms with general assistance, for instance. So that's a little bit of the landscape. It's very dire, and there's just no housing in Portland. We've heard this, we've been saying this. I was listening to a Portland City Council meeting last week, and one of the councilors said that, did not mince their words, there is no housing in Portland. So what we have been saying, we've been advocating for, is we need to look beyond Portland. We need to be realistic And we need to, or try to be realistic and seek communities outside of Portland that can welcome people, where housing is more abundant, where communities are hopefully welcoming, and there's some kind of coordinated effort, nonprofits, individuals, faith-based groups, to welcome people, to get them connected to services, help them navigate transportation, healthcare, schooling, everything that goes into making a life in this country. There are some organizations doing some housing navigation, but there are few. They're very busy. They all have 300, 500 person waiting lists, 1,000 person waiting lists, last I heard from one organization. And they very often will prioritize large families or pregnant mothers. The shelter that we run at the Salvation Army has several pregnant mothers, and the housing navigation that we do with other nonprofits that are in that space are prioritizing the moms that are 6, 7, 8, 9 months pregnant. We've had some success in Auburn and in Sanford, but it's slow moving to find permanent housing for people. A lot of things need to align. I say the stars need to align because it really does feel that way. And Gael mentioned housing being a huge challenge. It's not just finding the unit, right? It's finding a landlord that's willing to rent using or accepting general assistance, which they should. They shouldn't be discriminating. It's apartments that fall within the range of general assistance. So there's a general assistance guidelines, and it seems like market rates are not, or GA rather, rates are not keeping up with market rates. So how does that all work out? How do you make sense with that? I don't know. There needs to be definitely some general assistance reform, and we're involved in a lot of those conversations with partners and the state. And then general assistance offices are overwhelmed. I mean, anyone who's tried to make an appointment, and we hear from families trying to make an appointment in South Portland, there's 2 people who work there part-time, and very often people have an emergent need, and they need an appointment. But your next slot is in 3 weeks. What do you do? We're seeing other communities, like you may have read in the news, 28 new families have gone to Sanford General Assistance in the last week. It's 100 people. And Sanford announced today, I think I read in the paper, that they can no longer accept anyone else. And that, it's not just showing up at general assistance and getting a hotel room for 5 weeks that will solve. You have to have the school involved. You have to have the superintendent. You have to have the GA office there. You have to have but for English language, or adult education. You have to have an ecosystem to support families if they are to stay in Sanford. Of course, the General Assistance Fund only pay for 5 weeks for these families in a hotel. What do we do after 5 weeks? Where do they go? So some things, we talk about some kind of solutions, of course, more housing, right? We just need to build more houses in this state, all over this state, but especially in southern Maine, where a lot of our families choose to live for various reasons: access to services, community, access to things like ethnic grocery stores, which we don't often think about, but we are very important. We know this from our food program. Food is a very important component to welcoming people and to feeling at home. So more houses, definitely. If you are a developer, if you know developers, tell them to build more houses. We need state coordination, like I said earlier. We've been asking the state to create some kind of body, an office to manage and to coordinate people arriving. And we had asked every day, where are people? What are the numbers? And we don't have clear answers. We have proxy numbers for maybe people showing up at the shelter, but we know a lot of people don't show up at the shelter. Like I mentioned earlier, people are going into the community. A lot of people are completely untethered from supports and systems, and they rely on community. So we're asking for the state to step in. We need large scale, and we need more efficient and large scale shelters versus smaller grassroots sheltering, which has been key up to this point of having churches open their doors and organizations like Family Promise take in families also in different churches. But we need a larger sheltering system that can support these families. And along with that, case management and et cetera, housing navigation, bring in healthcare, bring in schools. My organization does a lot of connecting the dots between those different entities. And we also need GA reform, and that is the application of GA in a uniform fashion across the state. And we've also been calling for the state to increase its reimbursement to municipalities. Right now, the state is reimbursing municipalities at a rate of 70%. The municipality is carrying 30% of the weight of GA, and we're asking for that to be increased to 90%. And we're asking for communities like yours to get involved. And this community, this church community, has in so many wonderful ways. We need folks like you to help people do housing navigation, because there are few housing navigators. They're very busy. You have the connections in the community. You know, you may have a neighbor who has a unit that's available for rent. You may know someone at the general assistance office. You have a car. You speak English. You can interpret. You can make those connections. So we need the community involved in this work for sure. And then we need to go to communities outside of Portland and find welcoming communities that will embrace people.
Thank you, Madeleine.
Thank you.
Well, now is the time for questions. So if anybody has a question, I see a question over here. I think we're going to carry a mic to you. It's really fun to talk into a mic. I'm going to share that experience with you.
Hello? I'm from State Street Church, and we've just had 12 people for 3 months, and these other churches have cooperated with the chaperones, and I go in and I talk to the people. I mean, I don't speak their language, we work, but everything has gone very well, and they've just been taken, very abruptly, they were taken to the Salvation Army because they were told if they go to the Salvation Army, they will qualify for a placement, whereas if they stay at the church, there's no place. It's all very complicated. I have my question, though. I'm just saying, I've been in that, and I have all these questions. Where do the people get the money they do have? How does it happen, the material details of all of these people, even the people I've seen? How do they get anything? The meals are served, I understand that. And they get the kids to school on a bus. We started making lunches because that seemed to fill in a gap. But I think the families get a little bit of cash, which, I don't know, there's some things I don't understand how they work, even if we're giving them beds.
Madeleine, do you have any insight on that?
Sure. I think, people are very resilient, and I think speaking to, my friends here and knowing their stories and other friends in the room, what they have gone through, I won't speak for them, but I can just say that people who've crossed continents and are very resourceful and have a lot of agency. They may not have material means, but they may have social networks or other connections that they can depend on. A lot of these families have multi-status, they're in a multi-status situation, so if they have a US-born child, for instance, they have a US citizen child, they may qualify for certain benefits. Most of the families we're seeing qualify for general assistance because they have no income, right? The families you had at State Street were not working. So they can get food vouchers. Other families qualify for TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, which is basically cash assistance. It used to be called cash welfare. other families qualify for SNAP, which used to be called food stamps. So, again, families are resilient, and the power of community, I think, is certain. You may arrive and not know that certain resources are available to you, but your friend, your neighbor does, and you are connected to those resources. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your stories and your time. Enchantée et merci. So I have a question about work permits. And I know there was talk among our delegation, our legislators about moving things up so we can get work permits earlier than however many days. Because it seems to me, as you were saying, Gael, tu veux faire quelque chose, right? You want to work, you want to give back. But if you can't get work permits and you can't work, then you're dependent more on the GA. That feels bad. So I guess that's my question. I don't know if you know that, Madeleine, but I just, how can we give people opportunities to work so that they aren't so dependent on, Yeah. So that's my question. Thank you.
Well, I mean, the laws governing, and I'm no expert in employment authorization by any stretch. I used to fill them out for people back in the day when I was working for attorneys, but I'm really not an expert in that. Those rules are governed federally, and we, as a community in Maine, we can go talk to our senators, our congressional delegation, and there is some movement. We know Senator Collins and King. They're both in favor of reducing that weight limit, that waiting period, I think to 30 days from 150, which is a no-brainer, right? It makes sense to make people independent and not so dependent. But the appetite, and I wish my colleague Tobin, who's our advocacy manager, was here because he could speak to this eloquently, but the appetite beyond some senators and in the country is perhaps not so great for those changes, which doesn't make any sense at all. If you think, under Trump, the previous presidency, there was a move to change that to that waiting period to, I believe, a year, thinking perhaps that would deter people, which is crazy. I mean, people won't be deterred by such measures. They'll just perhaps do riskier things for survival or find ways to survive instead of being empowered and paying taxes and contributing to society, feeling empowered. Yeah, we can all call our congressional offices and just continue to lobby for a shorter waiting period for employment authorization.
After hearing this, one can only say, what gives you hope? So what gives you hope? And not just you on the panel, but other asylum seekers. What gives you hope?
Gael, would you like to answer? Or Toto? Okay.
Ah, tiens, prends-le mien.
Oh,
Non, parce que tu vas...
we're sharing mics.
The question is, I think the question is about all our life here. Firstly, we are here because we left our country. Maybe I don't know, everyone here has his reason to be here. I, for one, I'm here because I couldn't stay in my country because it's like my life was in danger. That's why I get in the US. So, since I'm here, what is my hope? At first, if I had not to wait for work permit, I should be working now. I should be having the same life I have in my country. I had in my country. I would like to be able to work in what I was doing in my country. I'm an electronic engineer. I would like to do the same thing here, but I can't because I need to have the work permits. So if we could have a way, or there was a process to have the work permits quickly, it should be very easy for everybody. Because now I should be maybe looking for a job and start my life. But since we don't have it, we're still depending on people. And we're still being like, we are lost because we don't know what to do. You don't know where to live. And what is not easy is most part of people who come in here like me, they don't speak English. Me, I'm trying to speak because I'm educated. I did university in my school, and I was loving English class, particularly. Not because I learned English. No, I was loving English class when I was in high school and university. That's why I can explain a little bit what I think. So it's not very easy. It's very challenging because when you are here, you are like lost because you don't speak English, you don't speak the language, you can't walk. So what to do? You don't know. You depended on someone who can feel your life and help you. It's only what you can do, for example, for the moment. Now we just hope that our application for work permits will be completed and we'll have it. And once we have it, we'll look for a job. See.
Thank you, Pierre. Toto and Madeleine, what gives you hope?
Okay. Merci. En tout cas, l'espoir que nous avons d'abord quand nous arrivons ici, c'est la liberté de vivre. Parce que ce qui manque dans nos pays, il nous manque la liberté et la justice. Et une fois arrivé ici, ce qui nous donne l'espoir, tant bien même qu'on doit attendre la procédure qui prend beaucoup de temps, mais au moins, nous avons la liberté et nous avons l'espoir de la justice un jour.
Liberty is the thing that we are looking for. The only thing that makes us leave our country is the lack of liberty and justice. You know, even though you don't have anything to eat, but if you are free, if you have liberty, you are a human being. But you can have a lot of money. I can take our example. I was working as a lawyer. She is a lawyer too. As we said in the beginning of this meeting, we were not rich, but we had never imagined that we could end up one day as asylum seeker. We are forced by some circumstances. I'm talking about our case. I don't think about other people. So liberty is something that is very important. So you Americans, you should be very proud of your country. The only thing that people dream about your country is the liberty. You can say what you want. You can live without being troubled by people. In our country, you can't criticize your president. You can't criticize, no, it's impossible. You will be arrested and put in jail. You know, so the difference that we have between people and animals is the liberty. That's the big gift that God gives us. I think that one day, I don't wish that, if the America we have a dictator, you will flee. You will flee, you will go to find liberty somewhere. Okay, that's what. The hope that we have is the liberty that will help us to live like human beings. Although the fact that the procedure takes a little bit a long time, but as long as you can sleep and express your idea, okay, it's okay. We will wait. That's all.
Gael, what gives you hope?
Ce qui me donne l'espoir, premièrement, c'est sans.
At first, I think of my children.
Deuxièmement, c'est le pays.
Secondly, the country.
Le pays a une structure, une façon de faire qui est différente de beaucoup de choses, de beaucoup de pays.
Life you have in the US, it's very good and it's very different of life, for example, in my country.
Moi, je crois au travail des juges, des avocats, des administrateurs, de tous ceux qui s'y font.
I believe in life of judge, lawyers, and what they do.
Et je crois, ça c'est mon humble avis à moi, je crois qu'ils font tout ça pour le bien-être et la continuité de ce pays.
And even if it's not in our interest, but I think what lawyers and judge doing here, it's for the interest of this country.
Je crois honnêtement ce qu'ils font, c'est ça qui nous donne l'espoir.
Honestly, what they're doing, I think it's what is giving us the hope,
Parce qu'ils n'oublient personne.
because they forget no one.
C'est ça mon opinion. Et
This is
c'est ça qui me donne l'espoir.
This is what I think, and this is my hope.
J'ai des enfants que je ne peux pas donner des explications.
Ah.
Je crois qu'ils auront un avenir meilleur.
I have children who I cannot explain them now the situation we live in, but I just hope that I will give them the best life.
Et deuxièmement, je crois que nous sommes dans un pays où les choses sont faites de manière que tout le monde puisse avoir espoir.
And I think we are in a country where everyone can have a hope.
La justice est là,
The justice.
des avocats sont là,
You have lawyers working good.
les administrateurs sont là,
The system administration is good.
il y a, les organisations sont là.
Organizations we have.
Et il y a des gens qui nous entourent, qui nous disent toujours qu'avec ce système, il y a l'espoir.
And with people living around us who tell us that we can have hope.
Non pas seulement qu'ils nous le disent, mais nous aussi nous le voyons.
Not because they are telling us, but we can see it ourselves.
Et nous voyons ce qu'ils font.
We see what they do.
J'ai vu Martha venir me chercher à la maison.
For example, I can see Martha who came to pick up me at home.
C'est déjà l'espoir.
This is, for example, a kind of hope.
Je viendrai chez toi à 13h30. À 13h30, je l'ai vu chez moi.
She told me she will be at my home at 1 p.m.
J'ai
and
pas
she
de
was.
difficulté.
I don't have to doubt.
Madeleine me dit, les 7 mai, tu as le temps? Je dis oui, j'aurai le temps.
Madeleine, for example, would tell me that May 7th, if you have time,
Et il me dit, il y aura une conférence où tu peux venir intervenir et dire quelque chose.
and told me if there is a conference that I will need you to come to
Et
take
ça a
part.
duré depuis qu'on a parlé de ça.
It's a long time we're talking about it,
Aujourd'hui, je suis là.
and then today I'm there.
Et je vois aussi des gens.
I can see people.
Donc je suis ravi. Je vis Kelly,
I'm happy. There is Kelly,
Toto, j'ai vu Pierre,
there is Pierre, there is
j'ai vu
Toto,
tout le monde.
and everyone.
Donc c'est une réalité.
This is a reality.
C'est pas un mythe.
This is not a story.
Donc j'ai toutes mes facultés, mes raisons de croire que ça va marcher.
So I have all the reason to think that it will be good.
Avec ma croyance, je crois que tout le monde ici croit en Dieu.
And I think everybody believe in God here.
Ça, c'est ce que je crois. Je ne sais pas si vous ne croyez pas en Dieu, mais moi, je crois en Dieu.
I hope that everybody believe in God here, because even me, I believe in God, and I think with God help,
Tout ira bien.
everything gonna be alright.
Ça, c'est mon opinion là-dessus.
This is my opinion,
Rien que mon opinion.
mine.
Gael, Gael, you're delightful. Thank you. Madeleine, can you wrap up for us? What gives you hope? This
Oh.
is the last question, so leave us with some
Oh
hope.
my God, what gives me hope? Oh gosh, wow. A little bit louder. What gives me hope? Wow. Yeah, most days I don't have a lot of hope, because there's a lot of things in our work, in our line of work, that are very discouraging. That I, as a person in my position, in my privilege, I can leave at the end of the day. And I see a lot of people who don't have that privilege. And so very often I'm not hopeful when I see the systemic inequities in our society and the challenges that a lot of people face. I'm hopeful when I make great friends and I see and I am inspired by them. I learn from them, and I guess they give me hope. Their journeys and what they've accomplished so far, their hopes give me hope.
Yeah, they are true testaments to perseverance and courage, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I ask just a quick question, Kelly? This question was from behind me here. On this sheet about how you can help the diapers, laundry cons, suitcases, rides to laundromats, is there a contact for a place for dropping off these things? At the church here, we have done quite a bit of it, but do you have a recommendation for
those first couple diapers, baby formula, baby wipes?
I mean, is it best for us as a congregation, as a church, to be collecting these items and bringing them to you, or do you have any other central locations that you would like these brought to?
Yeah, ideally, if that works as for the congregation, that would be wonderful. I know you've done clothing drives. I know you've done so many drives here. It's wonderful if you can gather things here, and then we can talk, and you can, we can coordinate.
Great.
But yeah, this is a great, because our office, we work in a hybrid model. Sometimes our office is locked. You don't want to drive all the way to Portland and find a locked office, for sure. Yeah. So here would be great. Thank you.
Sally, yes.
We can write to to Shelley Pingree, who's also trying to get the work permit shorter, the time frame, as well as Senator King and Senator Collins. So please, we can all do this. You can do it easily online. It will make a difference if they keep hearing. So just spread that and have your friends do it too.
Do we have time, Kelly? Can I hand this to Mary over here? Or?
This is just a thing of hope.
Okay. We need hope.
Yeah, we need hope. I just want to say, I work at the Salvation Army. I have for 11 years, and I've had over 2,000 immigrants privileged to learn English, computers, and I just want to say, number one, Toto last night was sleeping overnight at the Salvation Army with, I don't know, whether 50 children and parents, and she thought of this. We did it before COVID, but she initiated it, and some other lovely ladies that have been through struggles, and here they are helping others, having a birthday party. So there was a birthday party. I think there were 5 children that had birthdays here in the month of May. So we had a huge cake donated by 2 Fat Cats Bakery. So it was very heavy, by the way, and a wonderful, and the children, just sing happy birthday in the different languages, and they're just so eager to learn and just so lovely, really. And when Toto was before her work permit, I want to say this, because people are focusing on the work permit, which is really important, but because I believe God has everyone has gifts, right? And why wait? You can use them right now, right? So we have had an enormous amount of immigrant new people like teach classes. We have 13 languages that are spoken by the staff at Salvation Army, and that's maybe about 9 people or something. And so what happens is Madeleine Mabonge from DRC Congo, Nikolai Sambo from Angola. Right now we have Ernesto, Ricardo, Helena, Graca. The 2 ladies, they want to be doctors. They're in their early 20s. And also Ernesto Francisco and Modeste are all volunteering, teaching English. And we also have a pronunciator lab. We've had over 200 people in our ESL classes, ESOL classes, since January. And it's really hard because some places are like closed for the summer. And so we need like more people. But I want to say that people like Toto, I mean, she's a giver. I mean, before she had a work permit, even when she had and was a single mother, she was volunteering at the Salvation Wayside Meals. She'd come, and if somebody had a need, if she had something, she would give it, you know? And so I want to say to you that God has greatly gifted everybody, and people are using their gifts. Before they have a work permit, I had one person that got his asylum in 8 months, him and his family. And the judge said to him, I'm very impressed that you taught, over 300 people at the Salvation Army while you were waiting for your work permit. And then he worked another job translating for management at a international firm. It's in Portland, and also doing orientation for new immigrants. And so a lot is being done, and I'm here just to encourage people to use their gifts like Toto has, and her family, and little Alliance was a baby, I know. She's a big girl now. But anyway, thank you, and that's important.
I think we will end with those words. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Pierre and Machulin, for translating. Thank you, Madeleine and Gael and Toto. Thank you all for coming out today. Please join us for the 4 Cs. Right through these doors. Thank you. Oh, and I'm told there are 5 Cs, the 5th being community.